What's up, sisters? I'm saying sisters because if there's any vlog of mine that's for the girls, this is the vlog that's for the girls. So if you are someone who does not have ovaries, just click like this video. It's just not for you, which honestly my YouTube demographic is literally like 97% females anyways. But I just want to be clear because today we're gonna have like a period chat centered video. I don't even know how to introduce this one. It's no secret, like 2 years ago, I was really open to sharing with you guys my hormonal journey, how I take care of my hormones, how I optimize my hormone levels naturally, and just how I am supportive of my hormones levels. Like, after all, this channel is a channel about health, like physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and also hormonally. You know what I'm saying? So I just kind of want to have some period chats. I want to speak about some ways that I nourish myself when I'm on my period, how I get when I'm on my period, so you guys can maybe relate to that, what period products I use, how I handle being a gym girly when I'm on my period, etc., just because I feel like it's not talked about a ton, and I think it should be. Like, hormonal and period health is something I've become very passionate about due to the hardships that I've personally experienced. If you are new, I lost my period back in 2020. I developed hypothalamic amenorrhea, and then I had to naturally get it back without getting on birth control or anything like that. I use like natural lifestyle changes and switches, so that's what really laid the foundation for me being so passionate about hormonal health and why I know hormonal health is so dang important. So I'm currently menstruating. It's my time of the month. I'm shedding. I'm on day 3. So I just kind of want to share this time with you and bond over being a creature that menstruates every month. Also, you guys, look at the weather. Look at this outside. Spring has sprung. We finally have some more blue sky. So guess what we're gonna do today? We're gonna go hit the hill. Yep, we're gonna go to the mountain. We're gonna go skiing for a little bit, because these are my favorite days. It's gonna be like 45 and sunny. Like, today could be a bib day, but I feel like I'm gonna go up high enough where it's gonna get cold. But regardless, spring skiing is for me. When it's just like a sunny weekend day, catch me out there once a year. Kidding, not kidding. Oh my gosh, guys, also, if you guys remember last video, I mentioned that I got this like scalp massager thing that has oil be able to like come through it at the same time, so you could oil your scalp as you're massaging it. This is it, and it's by Wet Brush. I haven't used it yet, but I'm gonna use it today, and I'm so excited. Anyway, but really quickly, first thing that's at the top of my mind right now is period products. Listen, people, chicks, gals, whatever you want to go by, people with ovaries who are menstruating. Just like how we're mindful of the ingredients of like the stuff that we're consuming to eat, you need to be mindful of the ingredients with your period products. So in the conventional like Playtex, or like, is that even a thing? Tampax, the conventional tampon brands, they have chemicals in them that are not supposed to be in your vagine area, etc. Don't ask me why that they include those in there, including things that even like fragrance, because I feel like that's like, ooh, like my tampons smell nice and pretty, but those fragments, that fragrance additive are all hormone disruptors that can actually contribute to different PMS symptoms, hormone imbalance symptoms, etc. It's just it doesn't make our hormones happy. So you want to make sure that you're finding very natural period products out there. And honestly, I know when you think about it, you're like, oh, but that means they're probably gonna be more expensive. I love the brand. This is Elle. This is not sponsored, although I would love to work with them. I'm always getting products that have 100% cotton. So like, these are the tampons that I personally recommend. I forget, I'll put some other names of some other natural brands here on the screen, but this is the one that I always stick with, and it's literally made with 100% organic cotton in the core. And what you really want to look at is it's a BPA free plastic applicator, and then there's also no rayon, no chlorine, bleaching, dyes, or fragrances. And there's another chemical called dioxin that you don't want to actually be in the actual tampon itself. So it's really important to have 100% organic tampon core. So I can't recommend these ones enough. These are my favorite. And then for panty liners, the same brand sells them, and this is just 100% pure cotton. And same thing, no synthetic pesticides, chlorine, bleaching, dyes, or fragrances. And I'm not going to say this is the absolute best thing that you could use, but these are so much better than the conventional like period product brands out there. So if you're looking to make a switch to make your hormones happier and support your hormones, and to just create more of a safe space for your lady parts, please switch to more organic, natural period products. I cannot stress this enough. I like want to gag when I have to put like a traditional Playtex tampon up in my most private area. And why it's so important is because the vagina is such a permeable membrane. It absorbs a lot, so it's very much more sensitive than just like your outer layer of skin skin, so it's going to absorb more. So you want to be really mindful of the products that you're shoving up there. Next thing that I want to say, these tips are going to be jumping all around, just to let you know. On TikTok at Livfiit, I got a question about what I wear underneath my activewear in the sense of like underwear. And the tea is that I don't wear any underwear underneath my activewear. I really don't wear any garments unless it's like a sports bra and whatever. I'm just so much more comfortable without it. However, I totally understand that us as girls, we have, you know, there's stuff that, you know, gets secreted. So I understand if you want still some sort of padding and like you don't feel comfortable just to like wear absolutely nothing. And so a hack that I'm doing right now, because I am on my period, like I said, and I'm going skiing and I'm not wearing underwear though still, I have a panty liner in. So I'll take one of these panty liners and I will just basically put it on the inside of either my legging or the short, and you just want to make sure that the material is really flat and that you can actually like press it in there so it sticks. And then you just want to basically situate your leggings or your shorts so that it's really pressed up in there and it will stay put, and this will just help you give you a little extra layer without getting panty lines. But this just specifically helps me like being in the gym sometimes when I'm just wearing like little spandex shorts and it's like my first or second day of my period, I would like some sort of safety net. So that's what I'll tend to do, is I'll just put a panty liner in some days if I'm like feeling sketched. But I also want to share with you guys a little bit about like my pre-period situation, because for me, my like PMS week, like the week before my period, is so much worse than my actual period, in the sense of like, that's when I just experience more symptoms, or like I just feel really fluffy and bloated and whatever. Like I kind of experience little to nothing when I'm on my actual period. And this past PMS, you guys, I was so emotional. Like I just felt so sensitive, and I wasn't like a crying mess, but I felt like I wanted to cry way more often than I normally do. Like, I don't know, I just felt super sensitive, and like little things were like making me feel some type of way and like hurting my feelings. And it just was so funny. And like then I realized, I was like, oh, okay, like it's because I'm PMSing. But if you are experiencing like really, really harsh PMS symptoms, or even when you do get your period and you're like literally can't move for days, you're throwing up, you're vomiting, those are not normal things to have. And I'm not trying to like scold you, I'm just trying to raise awareness. It's definitely common to have harsh PMS symptoms, but you do not have to live this way. And this is when people kind of get in the rat race of like birth control, if you will, because then they're like, oh, my PMS symptoms are really bad because they have an underlying hormonal imbalance, but then they go on birth control when really that's just covering, it's band-aiding the issue and not solving the actual root cause. And then that's why then when those people get off of birth control, they still have all these crazy symptoms because they never actually fixed it in the first place. So rather than like running to some sense of pill, like I totally urge you to look into what symptoms you're having and what could be causing them, and making sure that you're incorporating practices into your lifestyle to support your optimal hormone health. And I just really I'm so big on stressing this, because I hate when people feel hopeless, and I'm not trying to worry people, but I think it is almost a sense of freedom when you realize like, oh, there can be a solution to this. I don't need to live like this. My only option isn't the pill. Before my period is when I kind of start to feel weaker and more lethargic. Like I'm definitely really more tired before my period, and so that's when I want to try to listen to that. And for example, like 3 to 5 days before I got my period, it was when I was doing another full body circuit, like it was a Friday, and I felt so slow and just so like not up for it. And it was supposed to be a full body circuit day, which tends to be like rather more intense, and so I just decided to completely slow it down and do more of like, I just chose lower impact movements and almost a little bit more Pilates based movements, and I made it a little bit more slower, like ab movement heavy, as opposed to more like jumping heavy. So that's kind of an example of how I'll kind of modify my training. I'm not someone who like, I wouldn't say completely cycle sync my workouts at all, but I am someone who just tries to be more mindful. Like there's some cycles where I do feel really tired, like I did this time, and I kind of do need to, you know, moderate my workouts, or I'll go lighter in weight and things like that. But some days I'm like still feeling really strong and blah blah blah. So I don't try to just like put an overall kind of blanket statement over it of saying like, oh, when I'm menstruating I'm only doing Pilates for that week. I just listen to my body, and if I feel like I'm feeling strong and I can push weight and I personally just listen to that. So I just take the approach of listening to my body, but I just have more grace with myself when I'm around that luteal phase and my menstruation period, because I just have more of an understanding of why it's happening. And so I'll just have more grace when I am feeling tired or weaker. I'll just abide by that, but I won't automatically just like check myself out of the gym. I think I want to eat my snack now, and I'm not even just gonna bring it on the lift. I thought someone ate my last protein bar. I was gonna sue. Anyway, speaking of which, some foods that I like to eat when I'm menstruating. I still want to do more research on this. I'm not an expert on this, but something I've been personally trying to make a big effort towards incorporating more of is red meat, specifically when I'm menstruating, just because it's so high in nutrients and iron on it, obviously, and like minerals to replenish myself since we're bleeding so much. So last night is a perfect example. I ended up getting carne asada tacos, my favorite thing ever as of now. And that is just a very high fat meal with a steak and the avocado, and there's obviously a lot of iron and minerals and stuff in there. So that's personally something that I really love to eat. I just try to focus more so on like high healthy fats and a lot of mineral repletion when I am menstruating. And also minor details, but I had ice cream afterwards as well because I just freaking wanted it. So I just feel like I take such an intuitive approach as with like everything that I do, but I just try to really nourish my body, and I try to make sure that I'm supplying myself with the calories that it's also wanting when I'm menstruating and things like that, and just like taking it slow when my body feels like it needs it. And the first day of my cycle is usually when I feel like the crampiest, more so like I just have that pressure, like I can tell that my ovaries are starting to shed. So that first day is when I have that pressure. And so Monday I just felt super like I just wanted a slow day. So I just worked in bed all day. I have the privilege of being able to do that. But Monday was supposed to be my leg day, and like 3 years ago I would have totally been like, no, you still need to push through, you have to grind it out, you have to go to the gym. As I've gotten older and I've learned more about hormonal health and the bigger picture of health and how much multifaceted it is, I know that given the circumstances that day, like the best thing for me was not to go to the gym. And so I decided to skip leg day, and I just went for a really long walk in the sun. It was a very flat, mild, mellow walk. And I knew that going for a slow walk, something that was low impact, and being able to be outside where I could get sun on my skin and get vitamin D for the first time in so freaking long, getting fresh air, like I knew that was the best thing for me and the best way to support my body and my cycle at that point in time. So I thought that was a cool little like realization moment of how I didn't feel guilty at all or anything like that for choosing to do that long walk. And I just want that to be an example to you guys to show that like you don't have to get caught up in like the hustle gym culture. Like if you feel like you need a slow day and you need to choose a different facet of health that day to nourish you best, like you can do that. And of course, protein is always important. So like I'm prioritizing that throughout every portion of your cycle. I don't know why some of y'all were requesting ski content, but y'all were requesting ski content, so we're going skiing. Huge importance. Do we have feminine products in here? Yes, we do. I did not think it was going to be this packed. What the heck? I really thought it was going to be empty because there just like hasn't been anyone around. And I thought everyone thought it was spring. Other entrance, like at the other side of the mountain, because the first one I went to was just a cluster over there. I don't know why I always get so backed up over there, but like here it's like completely chilling. So anyways, we're still rocking and rolling. For a second I was like, oh no, are we gonna not be skiing? Y'all, I totally forgot a hair tie, but luckily I found this like mini rubber band in the car. That would have been bad. My hair would have been in dreadlock after this. Slut strands? Slut strands? One time I was out skiing with my dad and he like couldn't remember what these were called when they stick out of your helmet, and he was like, your slut things look good. And I was just like, if that was taken out of context, people would have been like, what? Alright, dogs. We're ready to hit it. Skirt! guys, it weighs down the front of my helmet like it's nobody's business, and then I just feel like I'm like, oh, where's the lifts? And I like can't see anything. And I just feel like a Jerry, so I might need to pop that off until it's actually like we're skiing stuff. But this is called the orange bubble. I almost just said red bubble. The orange bubble chairlift. It's like a little, when it's kind of stormy, you can put the shell down and send you're like in a little bubble, as you can see right there. Anyway, we're on the chairlift now, and like I said, we're on a different side of the mountain, so I'm honestly not super familiar with this side. Like, I very well could get lost, but we're gonna like, I don't really know where we're gonna ski right now. I really only know like 99.90. While we're here, we could talk about hunger cues is another thing that I wanted to touch on, and like differencing in hunger levels. My like PMS week, like the week before my period, that's when I totally tend to be the hungriest out of my whole cycle. And then when I'm on my period, usually I'm not as hungry, so I shouldn't really have like as big as an appetite or anything like that. But it totally does shift. Like sometimes I'm not super hungry when I'm PMSing, but then I'm like really hungry during my period. But more often than not, it's the first way that I said it, like the other way around. And I just want to ensure you guys that like you don't need to stress. Like having fluctuations in your hunger levels is so normal. Like our metabolic rate shifts throughout our cycles, our hormone levels like makes our body need different things. So I personally say to honor that, and don't be afraid to eat more if your body is telling you to eat more, or don't be afraid to, you know, listen to that if things don't feel appetizing. I just want to share that like that happens to me, and my hunger levels definitely vary, and I just honor that, and I know that it's just like a part of how the cycle works. This is just gorgeous, so gorgeous. Y'all, I wish this camera could zoom in more, but that face looks insane. There's like fresh tracks in there. Okay, so here's the game plan. This is where we are. And so we're gonna go down past High Meadow Express or underneath the lift, and then go down to Tombstone, which is where I wanna get to. And then we're gonna stay all up in this vicinity, or we're gonna take up Tombstone and then go over to 99.90, which is the high part of the mountain where there's some good double blacks and stuff in there. The snow should still be good in there because we're high enough. High Meadow, check. Okay, y'all, here's the vibe check. Conditions are so slow. It's very slushy. Like, it feels like when I'm skiing, the snow is like kind of sticking to my skis and like pulling me back. The conditions are so slow because it's really warm out. It's literally like, I don't know, it's got to be close to 40 degrees, especially with everything kind of baking in the sun because it's midday. So we're on the 99.90 lift now, which is going to get us to the highest part of the mountain. So hopefully conditions will be a little bit better up here and in the trees where everything's not so sun-baked. I'm hoping, so that we could get a few good laps in there. Snow already feels so much grippier. Progress report, questionable. It's just a little slush. The conditions are not good, to say the least. But again, what can I expect? It's like warm and it's April. But I'm gonna try to find a little bit of a different line. Hopefully it's better. Anyways though, other thing I wanted to say is don't feel like, because I know I said I'm on my period and you guys probably are like, dog, you seem so like you're up and at 'em and skiing and all this stuff, when I know some of you guys would not be up for that on your period. My first 2 days of my period are like the heaviest, and that's when I'm feeling it the most. Like that's when I feel kind of slow, I'm feeling bloaty and just heavy and everything. But like by my 3rd day and 4th day, and like if I go into a 5th day, like that's when I'm feeling pretty normal, and I honestly kind of forget that I have my period. So that's why I feel more up to like do all these things. But like I said, Monday I like stayed in bed all day. I literally, my goggles are over my nose because my helmet is so way down.